The Reaction Lounge. Welcome back, crew. And tonight, you'd better sit down. What you're about to hear is not just another scandal, not just another financial twist, not just another piece of family drama. No, this is the beginning of the end. The unraveling of the Brown family legacy, thread by thread, lie by lie, secret by secret. For over a decade, the world was told one version of the Brown family: unity, faith, sacrifice, plural marriage built on love and cooperation. But beneath the surface, beneath the carefully edited confessionals and rehearsed family meetings, something darker was festering. And tonight, we begin with the moment it all cracked open. It started with a document. A thin, unremarkable sheet of paper that should have been ordinary, an old financial printout stuffed inside a binder that nobody had opened in years. But the moment Christine saw that paper, her heart dropped into her stomach, because the numbers didn't make sense. Not just numbers, but the heading, the account name. A name she had never seen, never heard, never been told existed. An account that shouldn't exist. At first, she thought it was a clerical mistake, a misprint, a typo, because surely, after all the years of fighting for transparency, after all the time she sat at the table with receipts and binders and calculators trying to keep the family afloat, surely she would know about every official account tied to the Brown family. But she didn't. Someone knew, someone hid it, someone used it. She stared at the page for a long moment before she whispered, "What in the world is this?" Janelle was the one she called first. If anyone understood the finances, it was her. If anyone could explain a strange account, it would be her. But when Janelle arrived, when she saw the paper, her expression changed instantly. Her eyebrows pulled in, her lips parted, confusion hardening into concern. "Christine, I've never seen this before." Christine felt chills shiver up her spine. "You're serious?" Janelle nodded slowly, her fingers tracing the account name printed at the top. This isn't one of ours. This doesn't match any of the accounts we used, ever." For a moment, neither woman spoke. They just looked at each other, both understanding instantly that something enormous had just landed in their hands, something dangerous, something that changed the narrative they had been fed for years. The number wasn't small. The deposits weren't irregular. The statements showed patterns, structured, intentional, consistent. Someone had been funneling money into an account neither Christine nor Janelle had known existed. And the deposits? They lined up almost perfectly with major episodes airing. Merchandise sales, cameo bookings, contract renewals, family business revenue. All the money that should have gone into the shared fund, the one they were told was always running low, had been quietly diverted somewhere else. Christine whispered, "This can't be real. This can't be what I think it is." But Janelle's silence was answer enough. Christine sank into a chair, shaking. All the moments she'd been told the family was broke. All the times she'd been told there wasn't enough money for her kids. All the arguments about Coyote Pass. All the nights she'd cried wondering why everything felt so unfair. Suddenly, it wasn't confusion anymore. It was clarity. Cold, stinging clarity. And clarity hurts. Janelle finally said, "We need to ask him." "Kody?" Janelle nodded. But deep down, they both already knew. Kody wouldn't have answers. Not because he didn't know, but because he always deflected, always redirected, always insisted he was the victim of everyone else's unreasonable expectations. If this account was real, if the money was real, if the secrecy was real, there was only one person connected closely enough to finances, paperwork, signatures, and strategy to hide something this big. Robyn. The wives looked at the document again, and the weight of it pressed down like a stone. This wasn't a receipt. This wasn't a missing page. This wasn't a simple oversight. It was a pipeline, one that siphoned off the lifeblood of the family for years, leaving everyone else thirsty, while one household lived comfortably, quietly, without suspicion. And then came the detail that froze Janelle where she stood. A signature. Her signature. Except it wasn't. The looping J wasn't hers, the flattened E wasn't hers, the slanted L wasn't hers. She knew immediately someone had tried to imitate her handwriting. Christine saw her expression shift and whispered, "Janelle, what is it?" Janelle handed her the paper with trembling hands. "Look." Christine leaned in. She gasped. That's not your signature." "No," Janelle whispered. "It's not." Her stomach dropped. Her pulse quickened. Because forging a signature wasn't a mistake. It wasn't messy bookkeeping. It wasn't miscommunication. It was fraud. Christine's voice shook. "Someone forged your authorization?" Janelle didn't speak. She was too stunned, too betrayed, too horrified. She had always trusted the process, trusted the paperwork, trusted that despite everything else falling apart, the finances were at least honest, even if they were strained. But now, she wasn't sure of anything. Christine exhaled shakily. "We need the others." And so, for the first time in years, the wives gathered not for a family meeting, not for a holiday, not for a TLC taping, not out of obligation, but out of necessity. Out of survival. Meri came with hesitation. She looked tired, emotionally worn, a woman trying to build a new life but constantly dragged back into the wreckage of the old one. She sat quietly at the table as Christine and Janelle laid out the documents. Her eyes flicked to the page, and her expression shift, from confusion to disbelief to something darker. "Where did this come from?" she whispered. "It was in one of the old binders," Christine replied, "stuffed behind a divider. Someone hid it." Meri's jaw clenched. She knew that behavior well. She had seen that kind of control before, not from a stranger, but from someone she once trusted with everything. Anger sparked in her chest. "You think this is hers?" Meri said flatly. Christine didn't answer. She didn't have to. The silence was answer enough. Janelle finally said, "We're going to confront him." Meri whispered, "And what about her?" Christine held the paper tightly. "Oh, we're confronting her too." But before they could even call Kody, something unexpected happened. The phone buzzed, a message from someone inside TLC. "You need to come to the studio now. It's about the finances." Janelle read it aloud, stunned. Christine whispered, "They know." Meri said softly, "Or someone told them." Before they could leave, another message came. "This involves Robyn." The three wives exchanged a look so heavy it pulled the air from the room. Everything they thought they knew, everything they endured, everything they were told, it was all about to crash down. They arrived at the studio, escorted straight into a private room where a producer sat with a laptop and several folders. He looked nervous, tapping a pen against the desk. "Thank you for coming," he said, voice strained. "There's something we need to show you." He opened the laptop. A grainy video clip began playing. Robyn was in her living room, pacing, whispering urgently into her phone. A voice, unidentifiable, asked, "Is the account secure?" Robyn whispered back, "Yes, Christine and Janelle will never see it. They don't even know it exists." Christine gasped. Janelle's face drained of color. Meri covered her mouth. Robyn continued, "Kody thinks he knows everything, but he doesn't. I'm the only one who sees the full accounts. I'm the only one who can make sure the money stays safe." The voice on the phone asked, "And the signatures?" Robyn hesitated, and then whispered back, "Handled." The clip ended. Silence filled the room, thick, suffocating, electrified with shock. Christine spoke first. "I knew it," she whispered. "I knew something was wrong." Janelle sat down slowly, the weight of betrayal crushing her spirit. "She forged my name. She hid the account. She lied to us all." Meri felt her eyes sting. This is the lie that broke the family. But the producer wasn't done. He opened another folder. "This isn't the only leaked clip," he said quietly. "There's more." Christine inhaled sharply. "How much more?" He hesitated. "Enough," he said, "to destroy what's left of the Brown legacy." The wives stared at him, stunned, horrified, and shaken to their core. But the producer wasn't lying, because the next clip, the one he hadn't shown yet, it was worse. Much worse. And it was the clip that would end everything. The truth didn't hit all at once. It seeped slowly into the corners of every memory, every conversation, every financial argument, every late-night phone call where Kody insisted the money was tight and the wives needed to cut back. It crawled backward through years of confusion and made sense of moments that never added up. And when the wives left the studio that night, they didn't speak, they didn't cry, they didn't yell. They walked to their cars in silence, but every step carried the weight of an entire decade's worth of betrayal finally coming into focus. Christine was the first to get into her car, but she didn't start the engine. She sat there gripping the steering wheel so tightly her knuckles turned white. She replayed the audio in her mind over and over. Robyn's voice, calm, deliberate, confident. They don't even know it exists. She wasn't confused. She wasn't overwhelmed. She wasn't innocent. She was intentional, calculated, strategic. The producer hesitated, hovering over the keyboard as if the file he was about to open carried some kind of poisonous weight. Christine could feel it. Janelle sensed it. Meri braced herself. And Kody, broken, hollow, and devastated, looked like a man who was about to learn something he wasn't strong enough to hear, but couldn't afford not to. The screen flickered, the audio crackled, and after a few seconds of static, Robyn's voice came through, lower, colder, sharper than in any of the previous recordings. This wasn't the tearful, trembling, emotional Robyn the world had seen for years. This was someone else entirely. Robyn whispered, "If this works, everything changes." Christine's stomach twisted. Janelle leaned forward, eyebrows knit together. Meri crossed her arms tightly, holding herself still. The unknown voice on the other end of the call said, "You're sure the other wives will leave?" Robyn let out a bitter laugh, one none of them had ever heard before. "They're already halfway gone. I just need to give them the final push." Christine's heart pounded. The voice asked, "And Kody?" Robyn's tone shifted, dark, confident, chilling. "Kody will choose me. He always does. He just doesn't realize how far it'll go." Meri felt her throat tighten. Janelle whispered, "Oh my God." Robyn continued, "He thinks he's in control. He thinks he's the patriarch. But really, the only thing he does is react to emotion. If I cry, he listens. If I panic, he comforts. If I say the others don't support him, he believes me." Kody winced as if someone struck him. Robyn sighed. "He'll believe anything if I frame it as loyalty. And once the wives leave, he'll finally see the truth, that I'm the only one who stayed, the only one who defended him, the only one who didn't betray him." Christine felt tears forming, not because she was sad, but because the manipulation was so deep, so intentional, so heartless, that it shook her to the core. Robyn's voice hardened. "The family needs to fall apart. It's the only way for us to survive." Janelle covered her mouth. She could barely breathe. Kody whispered, "Why? Why would she say that?" The producer didn't answer. The recording went on. "I opened the account because I needed leverage. If the family split and the money was still communal, I'd lose everything. My kids would lose everything. But if Kody and I controlled the bulk of it, we'd be safe. The rest of them can figure out their own lives." Christine's jaw clenched so hard it hurt. Janelle shook her head slowly. "We sacrificed everything, and she did this?" Robyn whispered in the recording. "Christine was easy. She's emotional, impulsive, she reacts fast. With a little encouragement, she'll leave on her own." Christine's blood ran cold. Janelle whispered, "She pushed you out." Christine swallowed hard. "I knew something felt wrong. I knew it." The voice asked, "And Janelle?" Robyn scoffed. "She thinks she's stronger than she is. She hangs on because she's practical. But if Kody pulls away and the money dries up, she'll eventually realize she has no choice." Janelle felt physically sick. "She used us," she whispered. "Every single one of us." Meri stood perfectly still, staring at the screen. She knew exactly what was coming next. Some part of her had always known, deep down. "And Meri?" the voice asked. Robyn sighed dramatically. "Meri's been gone for years. She's emotional dead weight. Kody only keeps her around because he feels guilty. If she leaves, it'll be a relief." Meri flinched. Kody looked over at her, horrified, but Meri didn't move. She didn't cry. Her face was stone. She had suspected these things for years, but hearing them spoken aloud, so casually, so cruelly, cut deeper than she expected. Robyn's voice grew confident, almost triumphant. "Once Meri walks away, once Christine leaves in anger, once Janelle feels cornered, it'll just be me and Kody, and then we can finally build the life we were meant to have." Kody shook his head violently. "No, no, that can't be real. That can't, she wouldn't." Christine whispered, "She did." The producer closed the laptop slowly. No one spoke. The silence was a living thing, the kind that fills every corner of a room, every heartbeat, every breath. It was heavy, suffocating, undeniable. Kody stood up abruptly, stumbling backward a bit as if the floor shifted beneath him. "She planned it," he whispered, voice cracking. "She planned the entire collapse of our family." Christine looked at him with a mixture of sorrow and fury. "We tried to tell you. For years, we tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen." Janelle added softly, "You believed everything she said. You threw us away." Meri finally spoke, her voice calm but razor sharp. "She isolated you, Kody. She isolated all of us from you." Kody sank back down into the chair, shaking violently. "I thought she loved me. I thought she... Christine interrupted. "Love doesn't destroy a family on purpose." Janelle stepped forward. "Love doesn't hide money." Meri finished. "Love doesn't forge signatures." Kody buried his face in his hands. "I destroyed everything because I believed her. I defended her. I chose her over all of you. And she was planning an escape the entire time." The producer cleared his throat. "There's more. It gets worse." Christine gasped. "Worse? How could it get worse?" The producer opened another folder. Inside were documents, financial projections, notes, lists, calculations. "These papers were found during the legal investigation," the producer explained. "They show long-term planning and motives for maintaining secrecy." Janelle flipped through the pages and stopped at one line. Her mouth fell open. "What?" Christine demanded. "What is it?" Janelle handed her the page. Christine's eyes widened. Meri looked over her shoulder. It was a handwritten list, Robyn's handwriting, titled only with the initials RB, but unmistakably hers. On it were 3 bullet points. 1. Remove Christine. 2. Isolate Janelle. 3. Push Meri out. Below that, written in bold, final goal, monogamy. They all froze. Christine whispered, "She wrote this. She planned this. She wanted us gone." Janelle felt her legs weaken. She didn't want plural marriage. Not once. Not ever. Meri stared at the words. She wanted the title, the lifestyle, the show, the money, but not the marriage we all believed in. Kody sat, trembling, unable to speak. For the first time in the entire history of his family, he understood exactly how badly he had been manipulated, how deeply he had failed the people who trusted him, how blind he had been to Robyn's strategy. Christine moved closer to the table, her voice gaining strength. "You said we were disloyal." Janelle stepped forward. "You said we didn't respect you." Meri joined them. "You accused us of ending the family." Christine leaned in. "But the truth is, Robyn ended the Brown legacy." Kody sobbed quietly, shoulders shaking. He looked smaller than they had ever seen him, crushed under the weight of a truth that changed everything. The producer placed one final envelope on the table. "This," he said quietly, "is the last piece." Christine exhaled shakily. Janelle braced herself. Meri held still. Kody didn't look up. Inside the envelope was a single sheet of paper. One last document. Robyn's full confession. Written to someone she trusted. Someone who kept everything. Someone who had already handed the original to investigators. It began with one sentence. I never wanted sister wives. Christine dropped the page. Janelle staggered back. Meri closed her eyes. And Kody broke. She never wanted sister wives. She never wanted the family Kody sacrificed everything for. She never wanted the life she pretended to cherish. She wanted Kody and control, and the money, and a future without anyone else in it. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't emotional chaos. This was a plan. Calculated, intentional, cold. The lie that ended the Brown legacy wasn't a slip-up. It was Robyn herself. And now that the truth was out, nothing, not Kody, not the wives, not TLC, not the family name, would ever be the same again.